new UK Prime Minister takes office on Monday, and with it, a pivotal moment for how Britain and Ireland will work together on everything from trade to Northern Ireland's future. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Brief. Today is Saturday, 18th July 2026. I'm Neil, and in the next few minutes, I'll take you through the news that matters at home in Ireland, then across to Britain, and out into the wider world. Everything you need to know before the day begins. Ireland. Let's begin here at home in Ireland. Energy waste is costing this country €1.6 million every single day. That's the finding from an energy charity, which has highlighted that Ireland is shedding surplus wind power on more than 500,000 households. 550,000 people are living in energy poverty. The organisation is calling for a national policy to redirect that excess renewable capacity to low-income homes instead. The knock-on effect for Irish households? Families already struggling with heating and electricity bills are watching renewable energy simply vanish from the system, while the state hasn't built the infrastructure or policy to capture it and put it to work where it's needed most. Family law solicitors across Ireland are threatening to withdraw legal aid services within weeks over a long-running funding dispute. That means cases involving child custody, access rights, and domestic violence could grind to a halt. These are vulnerable families, children caught in custody disputes, and victims of domestic abuse, who depend entirely on legal aid to get into court. For anyone relying on family law services right now, this is a critical moment. Access to justice for some of the most fragile cases in the system is on the brink. The High Court has ordered the Irish state to pay legal costs to Somali nationals in a case over delayed removal proceedings. The judge found neither applicant had acted to disentitle themselves from costs, a significant ruling on how the state handles immigration enforcement and its accountability in removal cases. Closer to home, this decision sets a new benchmark for how immigration and asylum proceedings must be managed in Ireland's courts. And on a sensitive note, Coimisiún Pleanála has granted permission for 106 apartments on the former Bespera mother and baby home site in Cork, where around 900 women and children are claimed to be buried. The Taoiseach, Micheál Martin, has called for engagement with landowners on the site's future, saying the state needs to do the right thing regarding this dark chapter of Irish history. It's a tension between housing need and the dignity of the deceased, and it will require careful handling. This affects how Ireland reckons with one of its most painful legacies, balancing the need for homes with the memory of those who died there. UK. Now, across the Irish Sea to the UK. Andy Burnham, the Labour leader, becomes UK Prime Minister on Monday, and he's promising the biggest shake-up in British politics for 4 decades. He's finalising his cabinet and has pledged to end infighting and lead a united government, though there's still speculation around some key appointments, including who will fill the crucial role of Chancellor. For Ireland, this matters because a new UK Prime Minister signals real potential shifts in how Britain handles Northern Ireland policy, Brexit implementation, cross-border trade, and the stability of the Good Friday Agreement framework itself. Burnham's direction on these fronts could reshape Irish business, energy cooperation, and the foundations of peace on this island. Former DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson has lodged documents with the Court of Appeal in Belfast to challenge his conviction for rape and other sexual offences. The case centres on crimes committed decades ago. Here at home, that means the leadership and political stability of a major Northern Ireland party, and its influence on cross-border relations and power-sharing arrangements remains in flux during a critical period. South East Water, which serves 2.4 million customers across South East England, has warned it faces a survival crisis beyond July 2027. The company says it lacks sufficient funds to continue operating after what it describes as a disastrous financial year. It's a sign of deeper troubles running through England's entire water sector. A critical reminder that infrastructure on Britain's eastern flank is under genuine strain. World. And finally, out into the wider world. The United States is conducting sustained military strikes against Iran near the Strait of Hormuz, marking the 7th consecutive night of operations. Iran has reported explosions in the region, and this represents a significant escalation in Middle East tensions.
For Ireland, this matters because the Strait of Hormuz is a critical global oil choke point, and any disruption there directly affects EU energy prices and Ireland's import costs for fuel and heating. Irish trade with Gulf states and our exposure to oil price volatility mean that regional stability in the Middle East is not distant from Irish household budgets. Europe is being hammered by escalating climate challenges. Widespread wildfires, severe drought, and dangerous storms are continuing, even as temperatures have begun to moderate. June 2026 broke heat records across Europe and in our oceans, according to EU climate data. Why does this matter on this side of the Irish Sea? Because these climate events directly impact EU agricultural production and energy infrastructure, which in turn affects insurance costs and food prices for Irish consumers and businesses. Continental climate instability ripples straight into Irish households. The EU is proposing to slow down the pace of carbon emissions cuts for businesses, giving companies more time to reduce their output rather than maintaining aggressive cutting targets. This represents a significant shift in how the bloc approaches its climate commitments. Irish businesses operating under EU emissions regulations will be directly affected by these policy changes. As an EU member, Ireland's compliance obligations, competitive positioning, and ability to meet its own climate targets depend on how these proposals develop. And inside Ukraine, many soldiers are outraged over the removal of Defence Minister Mikhailo Fedorov, with troops telling the BBC they have serious concerns about the decision. The move has sparked significant discontent within the military ranks. It's a moment of internal instability at a time when Ukraine's military cohesion is critical to the trajectory of the conflict itself. A lot moving this morning. Tensions abroad, climate strain across Europe, and critical decisions here at home on energy, justice, and how Ireland remembers its past. And that's the morning brief for today. Whatever the day brings, take it steady. I'm Neil. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, look after yourself. A lot moving this morning. Military escalation in the Middle East pushing energy prices higher, record heat across Europe, and significant shifts in British leadership that will reshape how our nearest neighbour approaches Northern Ireland and the post-Brexit world. And that's the morning brief for today. Whatever the day brings, take it steady. I'm Neil. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, look after yourself.